I'll be introducing you to this term central bokeh abnormalities. In human and primate retina, central bokeh is defined as a central circular island less than 100 micron in diameter, composed of approximately 2,000 of the thinnest cone photoreceptors. This anatomic landmark is a major component of the central foveal architecture and may be highly vulnerable to mechanical stress and vitreomacular interface disorders. Now what you see here in the center is an electron microscopy photograph which shows the central bokeh. What you see is the electron translucent Henle's fiber cut section. Along with that interspaced is the electron dense photoreceptor. So this represents the central bokeh. Now, Gass had proposed that there is this existence of a peculiar formation of Muller cells, referred to as a Muller cell cone, which is a plug of tissue located in the center of the foveal floor, the base represented by the internal limiting membrane, and the apex kind of adherent to the central photoreceptors. Subsequently, investigators have shown on histopathology that this does indeed exist. You see the two photographs there, the blue color. This here represents the Muller cell cones. The top image, this is the primate eye and this is a human eye, where in both these instances you can see the Muller cell cone, which is clearly evident. Now, it's understood now that there are two types of Muller cells. You have these Muller cells here, which are the cells which participate in the Henle's fiber radiation. They emanate from the parafoveal and the perifoveal region, and they have this Z-shaped morphology. They're kind of loosely arranged. And you have these central Muller cells, which are more vertically oriented, and they are connected with single cone photoreceptors. So you have two types of Muller cells that probably exist. Now, Andrea Gavetta et al. Have described tractional abnormalities of the central foveal bokeh in epiretinal membranes, and they have described three patterns. They have described a pattern called as a cotton ball sign, and foveal detachment, and vitally formed lesions. Now, they believe that fissioning of the mitochondria within the cone inner segments and the disorganized disc membranes associated with the degenerating outer segments form the cotton ball sign, which is seen as a fuzzy hyper-reflectivity on the OCT, which involves the interdigitation zone and the ellipsoid zone, and the external limiting membrane remains intact. With time, there is vertical traction to the cones, and these cones kind of separate from the RPE, and you have subretinal fluid accumulation. And this is when they call it as foveal detachment. And with progressive traction, there is also accumulation of photoreceptor debris in this space, which leads to the vitally formed deposits. Now, when they looked at their series, they found central bokeh abnormalities in around 22% of their eyes. And the most frequent type was the cotton ball sign. And these eyes with cotton ball signs had the best visual acuity, whereas eyes with vitally formed lesions had the worst visual acuity. The trend for worse vision correlated significantly with the sequential stages of the central bokeh abnormalities. And during follow-up, they also found that the height did not change, but then there was a significant increase in the width of these lesions. In fact, they showed anatomic progression of the lesions from one stage to the other stage in around 15% of eyes. And these are some examples from their series, and this is a patient where over 7 years they have demonstrated that there is appearance with the cotton ball sign with a minimal foveal detachment, and which progress to later develop vitally formed deposits. Yet another example here, foveal detachment progress to vitally formed deposits over 2 years. And they also show that with relief of traction, as spontaneously in this patient with epiretinal membrane, these signs go away, like this cotton ball sign disappearing with the relief of traction. And in this example, they also show that in vitally formed lesions, sometimes over a period of time they can get absorbed. And they also showed that some of these deposits are seen to migrate up, and they believe that this is due to the Henle's fiber, the central Henle fibers, which are responsible for the migration of these debris into the inner retina. And so they propose that these lesions may comprise a continuum in the same clinical spectrum and may represent progressive stages of tractional central bokeh abnormalities. And they believe that Muller cells play an integral role in this process. There are also other people who have investigated this, and here some people have tried to explain that Muller cells may be the reason why macropsia develops in patients with epiretinal membrane. If you look here, this is the Z-shaped configuration of the parafoveal Mullers, which gets disturbed with epiretinal formation, And this can affect not only the transparency, but also it causes displacement of the Muller cell end feet. Along with that, there is a strain on the photoreceptors, and which could be the explanation for the macropsy in these patients. So in conclusion, BMT and ERMs, the mechanical stress exerted on the fovea due to the intimate relationship of the Muller cells with the central bouquet manifests as outer-retinal changes, and relieving this stress could resolve these entities. They also say that in non-BMT and non-ERM diseases, also a similar explanation is possible. The stretching of the Muller cells with edema and the subsequent traction of mechanical stress over the central bouquet can lead to tractional abnormalities such as foveal detachment and vitaliform changes. I leave you with this image. This is a patient who had undergone macula hole surgery. This is a failed macula hole surgery. This is the macula hole which failed, and now 6 months down the lane we also found that this patient had an ectopic macular hole, and this is probably due to an aggressive attempt at ILM peeling. But what you can see is there is Muller cell proliferation on top, which over 3 years kind of filled up the ectopic hole. So Muller cells do proliferate. Muller cells react to mechanical and hypoxic stimuli by hypertrophy, and with time this hypertrophy can transdifferentiate, proliferate and contract, and can lead to transparency issues. So the question is, should we be aggressive in peeling ILM in patients with epiretinal membrane? Thank you.